Okay. So, you know the drill.
B is B. Is BR.
Yeah.
SB is Q is Q. D is D. U is G. V is V. SM is S. WH is K is K. SL is SL. A is I. CL is SL. Cool. E is TH is or
Yep.
TW is PR is pearl. I is if. W is U is X is X. O is R. Y is E. And CL is soul. Cool.
Okay, though. All right.
And I finally learned how to purr like a cat.
Did
And
you?
make cat noises.
You're kind of called in practicing?
Huh?
Just kidding. All right. The first one is. Think of what we did yesterday. It's a blend. Like sweet, yeah. So you got it. So, what letters are that? S and W says soo, and then you underline. Good job. Okay.
U.
Yep. Now.
E.
What other sound does TH make? Yep. Ah. You got it. Bull. Bull. Bull.
L is
You got it.
E is Y.
Got it. Eh.
See, I did it.
What do you do?
Very nice.
You got it.
Cool. You.
Yep. What's another way you could write? You got it.
Monkey. Here we go.
Awesome.
So,
Here we go. Tur. Tur. Make sure you're saying the letters as you're writing them as well.
G and R.
Tur. Ready? Say this one. Keep it together. What? So is you got it. Gotta make sure you're saying it. Helps us.
I didn't remember if it was.
It's okay. Be confident. You got it. How about it? That would be your thought.
Dot.
There we go. Think about this one. Is
C. and sometimes like
And is K. So let's write that one more time.
so C.
And what do you do? Yeah.
We both make K sound.
All right. Aw.
And it's an octopus.
You got it. Dur. 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 Dur is E-R. Got it. Now let's try our blending board. These are all going to have beginning blends. You think you can do it? Make sure you point with each one. Say each sound. Ready?
Like 100 degrees. Smell. Smell. Scab.
Is that a real word?
Yeah, that's a real word.
Could you
Like
use it
every,
in a sentence?
like every time I had a scab.
Yeah.
Scab.
Let's try.
Scat.
Axe.
Scats.
Yep. That was kind of
Swax.
wax. It's like wax is in there.
Wax.
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 It's kind of like, like pants. It's got a little kind
Slam.
That's a real word. You want to use it in a sentence?
We had to trim our tree so that when actually this was a real thing. We had to trim our tree and we're trimming our fence down
Oh.
because we're putting up a new one. So because we have a lot of bunnies in there and hawks, and they try to come get them. So we have to have like little open gates and the bunnies inside them.
That's awesome. Though. You're doing it.
Sit. Sit. Still. That's a real word. Stish. Prish. Spish. Osh. With the eye, it kind of looked like spinach.
Oh no! You're rocking these blends. Oh.
What are we changing? Bell.
Whoa. What's this one say? That's
Flare.
Here we go.
Blue and blue.
Plum. Let's do last one.
Bread.
Got it. So can you tell me what the definition of a closed syllable is? Let me have some examples.
Like in the word not.
Not. Okay.
Not's a good closed syllable.
What are some of its characteristics?
It has a VC pattern.
VC pattern.
It only has one vowel sound.
One vowel sound. Let's do.
And it has a consonant after the vowel.
One or more consonants after vowel. Yeah.
And I remember there's like, oh, and it's coated with a breath.
Coated with a breath, and what's it mean when it's coated with a breath? It's a
Vowel.
But what kind of vowel?
Short vowel.
Short vowel. Yes. That was awesome. Okay. So we are going to review our. Do you remember our river? A nice little river. Let me get my little boat out. So we have our river, and here is the steps we take. So we have the word submit. So what do we do first?
You take the two V's and you here.
Identify your vowels. You want to put them there? So we identify our vowels as U, I.
And then you're thinking, oh, I can actually make this a bridge.
You can make this a bridge.
You take this
We're actually going to have ours be a lower bridge down here this time.
right here.
Yeah, we're going to do it down there. Under the water bridge almost. And then, what do you do?
And then your little boats come along.
You got
They
it.
both say, okay.
And why are the boats in the water, and what do their letters stand for?
The letters stand for, like, there's a bunch of cars up here, and these two letters stand for, oh, this is a B car, and this is a B car.
And what type of letter is that? Is it a vowel or a
Consonant.
consonant? And then what do you do?
And then you take, first you have to do this. And
So
you
you
cut it in
divide.
half, and you say, okay, this is your side.
This is your
This
lane.
is your side.
So then you look at this word and you know that, yep, it's closed syllable, so you code it with a what?
Breath.
And then, so what would this word be?
Submit.
You got it.
What are those things called? Is that like
It's the little. That's actually maybe what it was. I'm not sure. I got them yesterday. So, since you're so rocking at that, I'm going to give you some words. Some compound words, and some are going to be real and nonsense.
Are we gonna put them on here, or we don't write?
We're just going to write them.
Okay.
But we can look at this for our reference. Because some of ours are going to have blends, and some of them are going to have diagrams. You got it. Okay. So our first one is going to be sun bath.
That's right. You can go because the color is
And then you code them. You got it. Let's try whip lash. Whip lash. Whip lash. You can always pound and sound. Let's look at whip.
Oh,
Whip.
there's an E after that.
What's the one thing that
You got it.
It's an 8.
Listen to that because it would have been whip. What? That would have been white. If it had to be, but yeah. Trash can. Trash can. Trash can. They're all together, so you don't want such a big space. Trash can. Here are my nonsense ones. Ready?
Wait, those were all real?
Trash can's one word.
I know,
Sun
trash
bath.
can was.
Whiplash.
Whiplash and sun bath. I've never heard of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here we go. Shin hat. Shin hat. It's going to be one word. A compound word, but it's nonsense. Here we go. I got this one. Quag dot. Quag dot.
remember, so you could say one piece of sleep behind it.
Oh my gosh. You ready to love it? Okay. Blig Zutch. Blig Zutch.
Good job.
Blig Zutch.
Much.
Zutch. Zutch. Alright, this one's gonna get you. I'm thinking. Tap lip. Tap lip.
Lift.
Lip. Lip. Holy smokes. Okay. Plug nip. This makes me so happy. Plug nip. And our last one, stag von. Stag von.
Vaughn or
Vaughn. Vaughn. That was awesome. Oh my god. You are a rock star. Let's see you do counting and sounding. You ready?
Okay.
Okay. How about clench? Clench. Let's look at plench. Yep. You got it. Glut. 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 Excellent. Clicks. Clicks.
Like you click something?
Clicks. No, it's not a real word.
Oh.
These are all clicks. Try one more time. Clicks. 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 Yeah, you got it. Drush. 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 Beautiful. It's almost like brush with a D or a D. Froz.
That would be fresh.
Yeah.
Frogs.
I love how you're putting your lens on one finger. That's fabulous. Scunch. 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 And that is one of ours, but what would you maybe think would be a better choice with it? Oh wait, no, you're right, just kidding. I'm like, swap. What was this one? S? Yeah. All of our blends are going to be two consonants. All right, here we go. Ready? Yeah. Fred should get with a plan to plot.
Fred should get to a plan to plot.
Let's try that one more time. Fred should get with a plan to plot.
Fred should get with a plan to plot.
You got it.
Where?
Okay. Let's check ourselves.
Capital. I'm about to go up here. Capital now.
Capital.
Um,
Is it
overall
complete?
look. Complete. Punctuation and spelling.
Let's listen to me say this sentence one more time and see if you think anything might be a little off. Fred should get with a plan to plot. Excellent. And what about our hot word should? How do we spell should?
There's an O in there.
There's an O in there, yeah. You can't really sound out hot words sometimes, that's why they're
There
tricky.
you go.
Yeah.
Like I think I always want to spell should and could and would.
Without the
Like
O.
no, like with a W or a C or an S. HOUN because I'm so versed doing the O U N.
Yeah. I feel ya. Okay. Okay. You ready? When could the French plug the spot?
When could the French plug the spot?
You got it.
When or where?
When?
When can French. When could the French plug
The spot.
the spot? Okay.
Now read your sentence to me.
When can the French plug the spot?
Now read it. Use pointing to each one of these.
When can the French plug the spot?
You said it correct when you read it the first time. When could the French plug the spot? You said it when you were doing it, and then you were. Now think of. Okay, so let's check ourselves.
Could jump there.
Capital.
Yeah.
Is your when capitalized? And your French. Okay, good. Complete.
Yeah, sorry, my W is like
Overall look.
it's good. It's actually a little text out.
Say this.
When could the French plug the spot?
When could the French plug the spot?
I don't know when they
Yep.
day.
Yeah, exactly. And spelling. Let's look at could. What does CH say?
There's no H here.
Yeah.
I was thinking the other day.
It tricked you because SH has a diagram, but that's okay. Alright. You ready for our hot words? The first ones you are going to read, and the second ones you are going to spell. So
like
here are
12.
here are our first ones.
Monkey. Oh, money. Aren't. Shouldn't.
How'd you say that?
Shouldn't.
Yep.
Wouldn't. Couldn't. Money.
It's like monkey. Yeah, that was one of our hot words. And why are our hot words so hot?
Yeah, they're too hot to sound.
Too hot to sound out. You
Like
got
now, can I read those?
All right, here we go. And a red pen because it's so hot. They're sizzling.
It kind of matches.
It does. All right. Because.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Hold it. Because you got it.
I just not remember because.
That's
Cause.
good. That's really good. Breaking it apart. Another. Another. We're gonna go over that in just a second. That's okay. How about mother? How about brother? And other. Other. All right, let's go ahead and trace this 3 times while saying each letter name. All right, ready? Top and top. Another. A-N-O-T-H-E-R. Another. A-N-O-T-H-E-R. Another. A-N-O-T-H-E-R. All right. Let's go ahead.
Every time you say another, we have to do another.
Another. That's funny. You got, yeah. You know the definition. Okay, go ahead and write it 3 times in red ink because it's hot and sizzling. Another. And can you use it in a sentence for me?
I use another pen.
You use another pen.
I found out something. I keep asking myself this. When you say, like, when you're repeating something somebody said, and then you you're telling a backstory, and like you get to where you are now, and then you have to actually say the whole thing again because it happened, and then you're repeating it, and then you have to repeat what you said, and
You say it another time.
another and another.
You got it. All right. So do you know what a contraction is?
Contract. So I've heard of it. I know pretty much what it is, but I forgot it.
So have you ever seen?
Oh wait, I remember. It's like when you have like 2 words. Like I mostly use it with not, like should not instead of you like said do not. You can put don't do that.
Yeah, 2 words that come together to make 1 word, and they have the
And I
same
know
meaning.
how.
They have the same meaning. They just use a contraction.
You have to use like I forgot what it's called.
An apostrophe.
And you put the N right with the word apostrophe T.
You got it.
Apostrophe spelling.
So the 2 words are coming together with an apostrophe in the middle, and they're still going to have the same meaning. It's just going to become 1 word. This is going to be a breeze for you. So what do you think we're going to put this in our drawer?
Spelling?
Spelling. You got it. So pull out that drawer. You're going to put it right in the 3rd one. 3rd one down. All right. So, let's look at some of these. Here are some examples. Got these all.
I use all the color thing.
So here we go. Let's look at you are. It becomes your. Can you use your in a sentence?
Your scarf is pretty.
That would be your as in the possessive. Like, you are. So think of how you'd say you are in a sentence, but instead say your.
You're a girl.
You are a girl, exactly. Now you can always check yourself as you think, you are a girl. Does that make sense? It does. And that's how, to this day,
That's what I
have
was
to.
doing.
You got it. So here's I am.
I'm amazing.
I'm amazing. You got it. Was not. Wasn't.
Well, then you can go like this and was not. And then
Was not, and then followed over. So how could you use wasn't in a sentence?
It wasn't me.
Not guilty. You got it.
I have to use that a lot when the fish tank is overfilled with feed. It wasn't
You
me.
can tell
it was
him
her.
that's contraction, and I just use, alright, he will.
He
He'll.
will. He'll do the dishes, not me.
He'll do the dishes. Yeah, you tell your brother he'll do the dishes. How about it is? We have it's.
It is done.
But how could you say it another way?
It's done.
Yep. She would.
She'd tip all the fish food and the fish day.
She
done. She'd done.
She'd done it. Or she, because it's she would, so it'd be she would do it. So it'd be she do it. Because you wouldn't say she would done it.
She would do it.
Mm-hmm. You got it. So let's look at all these. How many do we have? How many different types of contractions do we have? I actually have 2. If you
I
want to
think
keep one.
there's
Right here. These are all of them.
8,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7.
7.
It's a 7.
Okay. All right. So now I have one activity for us that I'm really excited about. This will be our little guide that we can always look at. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut out the letter we no longer need, or the letters, and you're going to use a Band-Aid because you're performing surgery. The Band-Aid is going to represent apostrophes. So for example, if this was me, I would cut out the A, and I would put the Band-Aid between the I and the M to put them back together as I'm. Does that make sense?
No.
I'll give you an example. I'll do this one. So I'm going to cut out. So I know
I
this
get
is
what you're saying, but I
am.
don't know how you put it back together. Like how.
Here we go. So I'm taking the A out because I know that I am. I'm going to open Band-Aid. Because I'm performing contraction surgery, and the contraction, or the Band-Aid, is going to represent the apostrophe. Put it right there. And ta-da! It's I'm. You got it? So that could be your little example.
Okay.
So go for it. I'll give you some more Band-Aids. And every time you say it, read the word to me, and then after, tell me
Wait,
what
for
word
this
you
one,
came
would I
up with.
take out the W and I?
Yep, you might take out one, you might take out multiple. So then we can just put our trash right over here. We have a nice little. So what's that going to say now?
How?
Oh, yeah. You can use it in a sentence too.
I'll give the cat a bath, not him.
I'll give the cat a bath. It's an excellent sentence. Make sure you just put it. It's okay. It's okay. Because it's going to represent our apostrophe. So we just want that at the top. Beautiful.
There you go.
Excellent. So we have all. And so, what's this one thing?
That is.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be something like, that is red.
But how would you say it when you put the apostrophe?
That's red.
That's red. You got it. Purple. Mm-hmm. Purple, blue, and green. You're a surgeon today. How do you feel?
We have to go by the hospital, my mom's work, and pick up some flea stuff because our animals have covered in fleas and that. So,
Oh no.
and we get to go watch a cat have surgery
That's cool.
because it's
What's this say now?
that
And you said that's red.
because it's been having some chest problems and that. So they're actually going to take the teeth out of it, and then they're going to from one of the animals they had to put down and make them go to sleep. They're taking like some of the fun stuff out of that one, that animal, and they're putting in a new animal to help it stay alive.
So what were the two original words first?
They are.
And how could you use
There.
this in a sentence?
They are going to.
Yeah, because you could say they are going to be. Make it instead to there with a contraction. Excellent. Now this one might be a little weird. You'll see why.
Didn't. I didn't do that.
I didn't do that.
Very good.
Now how is the contraction with the word not different than all the rest?
Because you take the O out of it in the middle of
Yeah, you just take the vowel out. It's kind of weird. We can pretend that you moved the N over.
There, it's an R.
But we want to see that, so you can maybe go use that. Excellent. So that's kind of interesting because all the rest just take the last letter or the last two letters. So in will and shall it takes the last two, in is it takes the last one, are is two, have is two, would and have
After
is
this,
one,
I have to go
and that's
and skip first.
in prescription.
Yeah.
Let's do a couple more and then I'm going to have you spell some. Let's see which ones you should have. Do this one and this one.
And do the other two too.
What?
The other two too.
We can do those at the end if we have extra time. What's the one you're doing right now? What were the two words?
Wouldn't.
Wouldn't. Oh.
Couldn't.
Couldn't. How could you say it in a sentence?
Wouldn't, couldn't, shouldn't.
How could you use that in a sentence?
Hold on.
Okay. As long as what's this represent?
Oh, the apostrophe.
Yep. Because the apostrophe doesn't go over the whole thing.
No.
Right in the middle. All right. Our last two. What was your sentence for couldn't?
Huh?
What was your sentence for couldn't?
Couldn't he do that?
Could not he do that?
I said couldn't he do that?
Would that make sense to say could not he do that?
That's fine.
You have to think of another sentence for couldn't.
Oh,
If it helps, you can always think of the two original words in a sentence to help you correct yourself. So what was this word? What were the two words?
you have.
Now it says, how could you use it in a sentence?
You won a drink prize.
You've won a giant prize. What's my prize?
I don't know. Trip to Hawaii.
You're a wonderful. You're a wonderful surgeon. Contractions rate.
My mom's thinking about bringing me to Hawaii.
Oh, I've been. It's wonderful.
And
Look, I've been. That's contraction. I have.
we're going to
It's there.
oh, I'm looking for who. I'm like, who is up there? And then we're going to see about going to New York and go visit my cousin. And then my mom, he said she's going to go drop me off at the airport when I'm 12. And I'm going to fly to California by myself.
How could you use this in a sentence?
Who is that?
But what would it be?
Who is?
But how could you say with contraction?
Remember? Who's that? Who's there?
Yeah, who's there? Who's there? Now let's try this one more time.
Could not.
And so could you use it in a sentence?
I could not skateboard.
But what would you say with a contraction?
I couldn't skateboard.
I couldn't skateboard.
Now I can.
Excellent. All right. Now, without looking at your assistant, your lovely paint assistant,
I'm not looking.
you can do one left. Okay. Go ahead and spell the word.
Shut it. Go
There's
there.
my word.
Your
First
words
word
are
is it'll.
It'll?
It'll be a good day. It'll be a good day. I just know it. You got it. And what were the two original words from it'll?
It will.
It will. Shouldn't. Shouldn't we go to the grocery store? Oh wait, no. That would be. You shouldn't do that.
Should not.
Should not. It's been awesome during these sessions.
You have.
Were. Or we're. 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 This would be where. We're. Think about your first one though. We're.
There's no H.
What would the two words be?
We are.
Is that how you spell we? You got it. That would have been where are. That would have been where. This isn't. Okay, so we're. She'd. She'd.
She did.
She'd.
No, this is
How can you use that in a sentence?
be here.
Yep. She would be here. You got it. I'm.
I mean, like,
I'm going to the store. He's a really nice boy. And what is that regularly? Awesome. So for our review, what is the contraction for not?
in apostrophe T,
How about will?
LL,
Apostrophe LL is
apostrophe S,
R.
RE,
Apostrophe RE. Have.
apostrophe VE,
You got it. Would or had.
apostrophe D,
And am.
apostrophe M.
Which is usually always going to be I'm, because you're not, there's no other word that, but yeah, you got it. So if you want one, I have two. Want to take it home? No worries. Alright, let me pull up a chair over there. Alright, so what did we read so far?
They said that they're wondering who they're suspecting people, because what happened is all the seals' water rained, so they were trying to find.
And who did they think was guilty so far?
The one guy has a dog. I forgot his name. But the one guy has a dog, and Helen Brooks.
And Helen Brooks. Alright, so let's read on.
The next day was calm at the zoo. Maybe Jesse thought the strange things happening to the animals had stopped. On the afternoon of the second peaceful day, Penny said, "Let's read our books." "That would be fun," Violet said. "I'm almost finished reading the mystery I brought with me, and I'm eager to see how it ends." So they went outside to Henry's bed, 2 blankets. There was only one tree in our backyard, but it was a large apple tree and very heavy with apples.
It was pleasant to enjoy the shade on such a warm day, to eat crisp apples and to read. At last, they closed their books and folded their blankets. When they decided to visit the zoo, it was almost closing time. Going through the gate, they found David. He was giving Joe the elephant a bath. "Hi, Eldons," he called with a smile. They returned to his work. Joe patiently allowed David to use a brush to scrub him. Making wide, silky circles on the elephant's leathery hide, David soon covered Joe in white. Watch this, David said, chuckling and picking up the hose. He loves his shower. He sprayed the elephant, causing the soap to run down Joe's sides in white streams. Joe lifted his trunk and trumpeted with pleasure. At last, David coiled up the hose and came over to lean on the fence. What did you do today? He asked. Most of the day we read and ate apples, Benny said, grinning. David nodded. That sounds like a perfect afternoon.
Second only to working here with the animals, David Henry asked. Growing serious, what do you think of what's been happening at the zoo? Frowning, David shook his head. I wish I knew what was going on. If these awful things don't stop, I'm afraid Edward's zoo I'm afraid Edward might lose the zoo. He paused. I noticed Helen Brooks here again yesterday. She asked me a lot of questions, but I didn't give her any information. That would hurt Edward. Good, Jessie said. I knew she's waiting for a chance to find out something really damaged. I saw Pat talking to her. David said but I know she didn't give her any news either. I hope not, Jessie thought as anyone else been around Not that I noticed. I only work 3 days a week in the summer. He smiled. I'd like to work with the animals every day. Someday, he announced. I'm going to be
That would be a great job, David, Benny said. Maybe I'll be one too. We could work at the same zoo, David said, teasing. Well, he sighed. I'd like to stay and talk but I'd better get back to work. Pat wants me to check out the brown bears. The Alden strolled over to the leopards and watched the baby leopard playing with its mother. 4 chimes sounded. The zoo was closed. One boy, sitting on the father's shoulders, watching the beavers, cried, I don't want to leave. We'll come back, son, the father reassured him. A man pushed a wheelchair before him. In the chair was an elderly woman with a lovely smile on her face. Yes, Henry thought, Edward's zoo had to stay open. It gave so much enjoyment to so many different kinds of people. In the morning, the children planned to go to the zoo early. Edward was opening up that day,
and Pat was coming in late. They wanted their afternoon free, as grandfather was taking them to a movie, then out for ice cream. As soon as they entered the zoo gates, they knew something was up. Going by the lines, he noticed how restless they were, and how they paced back and forth, shaking their knees. Hurriedly, they followed Edward to the birdhouse. Let's see how a couple of friends are doing, Edward said, opening the door. The Mac called Sneak and the green parrot?
Think of our beginning one.
Skull. But the birds were usually quiet. Many were hunched over and didn't move. Oh, Jessica cried, grabbing her arms. It's cold in here. I'm cold too, Benny exclaimed. The heat is off. Edward started racing to the opposite wall and checking if the murmur. Immediately, he turned up the heat. And when he faced them, an anger flashed across his face. These birds could have died, he said, his face red and fury.
Helplessly, he threw out his hands. Let's check the others. Sure enough, the brown bears from Alaska were slumped against the rocks, panting. The air conditioning in their glassed-in area had been turned off. Edward raced from one animal house to another, rising low temperatures to lowering high temperatures. The Aldens helped by bringing water to the animals and were lying down, too uncomfortable to move. At last, all the animals had been checked, and when they were at ease again, the children relaxed too. Maybe we should face Helen Brooks and ask her to leave the zoo alone. Violet exclaimed. Not yet, Jessie cautioned. If she isn't the one doing these things, she'd just love to hear about them. The best thing to do is keep our eyes open, and if we see anything suspicious, tell Edward, Henry advised.
I hate to sit here and wait for things to happen, Violet said. It's the only thing we can do right now. Jessie admitted. I don't like it any better than you. Let's go home, Henry said. We can't do any more here. Edward is in the birdhouse and Pat will be coming soon. As they left, the black car sped away. Who was that? Henry asked. He was speeding. Doesn't Helen Brooks have a black car with us? Yes. He was spying again. Henry shook his head. I don't think so. A man was behind them, puzzled again, and glanced at one shoulder. The mystery was coming deeper and deeper.
So what do we know about the story so far?
That they think they know who it is, but the car just sped away.
And why didn't they approach Helen Brooks right away?
Because if it wasn't her, then she would just have more to talk about.
And why did they think the zoo should stay open later?
Because more people and different types of people come to enjoy it and that.
And they saw a bunch of people at the end
Yeah.
not wanting to leave when it was closing. So who is guilty? In the afternoon, the children went to the movies with grandfather, and for a while they forgot about the zoo. But afterward, as they ate banana splits, Benny said, Could we stop at the zoo on the way home, grandfather? Surprised, Grandfather Alden said, You spent all morning at the zoo. We want to see if the animals are all right, Jessie said. When we left, Edward was still checking some of them that had suffered under the wrong temperature.
Of course we'll stop, Grandfather said, with understanding. I'm sure all the animals survived, but we can pick up Edward. Great, Henry said. Lately, Edward looked so worn out from everything that's happened. It's a good thing we're here so we can help him, Violet said softly. Finishing the last of her ice cream, Mr. Alden studied his two granddaughters, proud of them, and how pretty they looked. Violet in her blue denim jacket and shirt, her hair tied in a lavender ribbons, and Jessie in bright flower shorts and top. He was proud of his grandsons too. Handsome boys. Henry resembled him, tall and straight. Benny had a ambitious twinkle in his dark eye. Yes, he was a lucky man to have found 4 lovely grandchildren. To think that not too long ago they had hidden from him in an old boxcar, believing that he was a mean man who wanted to hurt them. If Violet hadn't become ill, they might never have found him. Oh wait, it was the doctor and friend. It was the doctor and friend of his who had led him to them.
Yes, indeed, he said. Truly lucky. Never had he known children that were so ready to help, and not only him, but others as well. Then he leaned forward. Are we going, Grandfather? What? Grandfather stammered, coming back from his memories. Oh, yes. Smiling, he stood, paid the bill, and left for the zoo. They arrived at closing time as people were streaming out the front gates. Jessie tugged at Henry's sleeve. Isn't that McThatcher from the bookstore? He whispered as a tall, thin man went by. Henry saw Thatcher walking down the sidewalk to the black car and unlocking it. That's him, Henry said firmly. He doesn't look like the type who comes to the zoo for enjoyment. There's the bad man from the bookstore, Penny shouted, pointing to the black car pulling away from the curb. That's him, Violet agreed. What do you suppose he was doing here?
Maybe he was making the birds cold and the bears hot, didn't he stand? Thoughtfully, Jessie shook her head. No, Penny. Temperature changes happened early this morning. Pet Grammar hurried forward, gate clang shut. I'm glad you're here, she said. Her unusual smiling face was sloppy. Alarmed, Violet stared at Pat. Is something wrong? She asked in a shaky voice. Yes, Pat said shortly. Come with me and you can judge for yourself. She leaned towards Edward's office. Without a word, for the children followed her. Her grandfather's grim face, walking so fast, and he was hard to keep up. The zoo office, they were astonished to see Edward sitting up, slumped in his chair, his head in his hands. What is it, Mr. Allen said. Edward lifted his head and opened the grill file. It was empty. Somebody came into the office and planned blame daylight and stole the animals' papers. How could that happen in the past?
Alright, let's